coordinate algebra, linear functions, using function notation, data from an equation, data onto a graph. This is the blue lesson. Function notation. What is function notation? What does it mean? What does it look like? Well, y equals f of x. Well, how are we going to use this? What are we going to do? Your actual function notation is f of x. Let's go back to something we know. Y equals 7x divided by 3 minus 4 is a typical linear function. Now we're saying that y equals f of x. In other words, I can substitute in f of x for y. If you'll notice, we didn't do anything to the right-hand side of the equation. Alright, now why are we doing this? Well, I think of f of x as my backpack. It's a place for me to store and keep my x value. So when I choose x to be 6, or my domain to be 6, or my input to be 6, I plug it in everywhere there was an x. Now you'll notice that on the right hand side what we're going to get is we're going to get our y value when we work that all out. But on the left hand side you're going to hold 6 as your value for x. Now let's practice this, getting data from an equation. Let's start with the function we had before. I'm going to choose 6 again for my domain or my x value. Now you may be wondering, why did I choose 6? Why not 1 or 2? Well, you'll notice that I'm dividing by 3 and 6 is divisible by 3. That means when I get done I shouldn't have any decimals. That's why I chose 6. Now I'm going to talk you through this using really simple terms like I had no calculator, or I had a very, very basic calculator that I couldn't do anything really fancy with. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply 7 times 6 and hit enter. You'll notice when I multiply 7 times 6 I get 42. I should now have 42 in my calculator. Don't clear it out. Just go ahead and divide by 3 and hit enter. You'll get 14. Now let's subtract 4 from that 14 and hit enter again. We get 10. That is your y value. Remember I said your y value is on the right. What we start out with? We started out with x as our domain or our x value. Let's write this in a more traditional style, which you might be used to, as an ordered pair. In other words, I have open parentheses, 6, comma, 10, close parentheses. But a new way to write it is with function notation. F of 6 equals 10. Another way to write this also is to go ahead and put it in a function table. My x was 6, my y, or my f of x, is 10. Your turn, number 1. Go ahead and get your worksheet. Let's get set up to go. Notice we're still using f of x equals 7x divided by 3 minus 4. Notice the first domain that I chose to use was 9. Why did I choose 9? It's divisible by 3. Let's follow those same steps we did before. I'm going to walk you through. But if you need to pause the video to do your work because I'm going too fast, please pause the video. We're going to go 7 times 9. Hit enter. Now divide by 3. Hit enter. Now subtract 4. You now have your outcome. You put in 9. What did you get out? Your domain was 9. Your range is what? Put it into the function table. Your turn, number 2. Again, we're using the same function, but this time I chose -3. Again, why? Well, negative 3 is divisible by 3 and it comes out nice and even with an integer. Again, we're going to go 7 times negative 3. Push enter. Now you're going to divide that new number by 3. Push enter. Subtract 4 and you now have your new y value. Go ahead and put it in your function table. Your turn number 3. Same function, but this time I put in 4. Is 4 divisible by 3? No. Is 7 divisible by 3? No. Oh no. Are we going to get a decimal? Yes. First thing you're going to do is start and go 7 times 4 in your calculator. Hit enter. Then divide by 3. Yuck, we got a decimal. But don't do anything. Just subtract 4. Hit enter. Now you should do some rounding. Do you round up or do you leave it the same? Put it into your function table. Your function table on the bottom right hand side of your worksheet should be filled in by now. If it's not, go ahead and fill it in. You'll notice too, on question number 5, I asked you to write your data as ordered pairs. Do that. Now if you flip the paper over, you'll notice you're going to be given a graph. I ask you to label the x-axis and the y-axis. Now that you have your data as ordered pairs, and you might want to go ahead and write them on the back side as well as the front side, you want to put your data onto the graph. I've already put the problem I worked out, 6 and 10. That is already on the graph. Now you can put your data on the graph. When you get done, it should be a nice straight line. You're done. Turn your paper in to your teacher.